It was 3 in the morning, and the house was too quiet. I was standing in the kitchen, staring at the hallway light. It flickered once. Then it died. That was the moment I should have turned around. I should have gone back to bed. I didn't. I walked toward the front door. The floorboards didn't creak. They never did when I was alone. The knock came again. 3 sharp raps. Deliberate. Urgent. Not a salesman. Not a neighbor. My breath caught in my throat. I reached for the handle. My hand was shaking. I felt like a fool standing there in my nightgown. I looked through the peephole. The street was empty. I saw a car parked at the curb, engine off. Then I saw him. He stood just to the side, out of the direct view. He was young, maybe 20. He wore a hoodie despite the summer heat. He looked like a kid, but his eyes looked old. "Mrs. Henderson," he whispered through the wood. "I know you're in there." I saw the light. My name on a stranger's lips. It sounded like a threat. He knew my name. How did he know my name? "I need to talk to you," he said. His voice was trembling. "Please." "It's about Frank." Frank. My Frank. Dead for 6 months. The name struck me like a physical blow. I stumbled back. My heart hammered against my ribs. Who was this boy? What did he want with my husband? "If you don't open the door, I'm going to have to tell the police," he said. "I don't want to do that. I just need 10 minutes. 10 minutes. That was all he asked for. I thought I could handle 10 minutes. I thought I could listen and send him away. I unbolted the deadbolt. I turned the handle. He stepped inside before I could even move back. He smelled like rain and cigarette smoke. He looked terrified. He looked at me, then at the floor, then back at me. "Thank you," he breathed. "Thank God." He reached into his pocket. I flinched. I thought he was going to pull a knife. He pulled out a folded piece of paper. He held it out to me with a shaking hand. "You have to read this," he said. "You have to believe me." I took the paper. It was a letter. Yellowed paper. Typewritten. My hands trembled as I unfolded it. I read the first line. Then the second. The words didn't make sense. They couldn't be true. I looked up at the boy. "Where did you get this?" I whispered. My voice was barely a sound. "I found it," he said. "In his desk. After the funeral. I was cleaning out his office." "Who are you?" I asked. The fear was turning into something cold. A hollow feeling in my stomach. "I'm his son," he said. "I'm Michael." My knees nearly gave out. Frank had a son? He never mentioned a child. He never mentioned any of this. The boy, Michael, stood in my hallway, looking broken. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw him out. But the letter in my hand felt heavy. It felt like a stone. "Come in," I said. I didn't know why I said it. "Sit down." He sat on the edge of the couch. He looked small there. A grown man shrinking into himself. I sat across from him in the armchair. Frank's armchair. It smelled like his cologne. It used to comfort me. Now it just felt empty. "How?" I asked. The word came out sharp. "How do I know this is true?" "Look at the signature," he said. "Look at the date." I looked. It was Frank's handwriting. I knew that slant. I knew that press of the pen. It was him. It was definitely him. The date was 2 weeks before he died. "He wanted to tell you," Michael said. "He was going to tell you. But then he got sick. He was scared. He thought you would leave him. He left. Me anyway," I said. The bitterness surprised me. He left me alone. "I'm sorry," he said. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know about you until the end." He showed me pictures. He talked about you constantly. He loved you. He really loved you. I stared at him. I looked at his nose. It was Frank's nose. I looked at his eyes. They were Frank's eyes. The truth was undeniable. It crashed over me like a wave. I had been betrayed. Not just by death, but by a lie I never knew existed. "Why are you here now?" I asked. Wide-eyed. "I need help," he said. "There are people looking for me. Bad people. Frank did some things. Before he met you, he got mixed up with the wrong crowd. He thought he was clear. He thought he was safe. But they found out about me. They think I have something of his. Something valuable. What do they think you have?" I asked. I didn't want to know. I already knew the answer. A ledger, he said. Names. Dates. Accounts. Frank kept it as insurance. He gave it to me before he died. He told me to keep it safe. He told me if anything happened, I should find you. He said you would help. Why would he say that? I asked. I don't know anything about that life. He trusted you, Michael said. He said you were the only honest person he ever knew. He said you kept his secret safe. I stood up. I paced the living room. The room felt smaller. The walls felt closer. My quiet life. My peaceful widowhood. It was all a lie. Frank had a past. A dangerous past. And now it was standing in my living room. I can't help you, I said. I'm just a widow. I'm an old woman. You're his wife, he said. That counts for something. Please. They came to my apartment. They broke my door. I barely got out. I have nowhere else to go. He looked at me with those eyes. Frank's eyes. I couldn't turn him away. It wasn't in me. I sighed. I hated myself for it. You can stay one night, I said. One night. Then you leave. I don't want any trouble. Thank you, he said. He meant it. I could hear the relief in his voice. I'll be gone by morning. I promise. He slept on the couch. I slept in my bed, but I didn't sleep. I lay awake listening to the house settle. I listened to the tick of the clock. I listened to the sound of his breathing. I kept seeing the letter in my mind. The words kept repeating. Asterisk, I am sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. Asterisk, the next morning, he was gone. The couch was folded up. The blanket was folded. It was like he was never there. I walked into the kitchen. My purse was on the table. It was open. My wallet was missing. I checked the drawer by the phone. The spare keys were gone. He took them. I stood in the middle of my kitchen. I felt stupid. I felt used. I picked up the phone to call the police. I dialed the number. I waited for the operator. I heard the click of the line. Hello? The operator asked. I need to report a robbery. I started to say. Then I stopped. I looked at the hallway. I looked at the empty space where Frank's picture used to hang. Michael had taken it. He took the picture of us. I hung up the phone. I didn't report him. I couldn't. He was Frank's son. He was the last piece of Frank left in the world. He was a thief and a liar and a stranger. But he was family. I went to the window. I watched the street. I waited for a car I would never see. That night, there was another knock. I opened the door. Michael stood there. He looked worse than before. He had a bruise on his cheek. He was holding a bag. I need to come back, he said. They found me. I have to hide the ledger. Please. Just for a few days. He pushed past me before I could answer. He walked into the house like he owned it. He went to the back door. He looked at the yard. Is the cellar locked? He asked. Yes, I said. Frank never used it. Good, he said. I need to put this down there. It's the only place they won't look. He disappeared into the basement. I heard the heavy thud of the bag hitting the concrete floor. He came back up. He looked at me. I'm sorry I took your things, he said. I was desperate. I'll pay you back. I promise. You took my husband's picture, I said. My voice was flat. Why? He looked down. He pulled the framed photo from his jacket. He held it out to me. I wanted to see what he saw, he said. I wanted to know why he chose you. Why he gave up that life for you. He handed me the frame. The glass was cracked. I held it against my chest. I looked at the young man standing in my living room. He was dangerous. He was trouble. But he was all I had left. Stay. I said. Stay until it's safe. He looked up. Hope flickered in his eyes. Thank you, he said. We lived together for a week. It was strange. It was quiet. He cooked for me. He fixed the squeaky step on the porch. He talked about Frank. He told me stories I never knew. He told me about the fishing trips. He told me about the business trips that weren't business trips. He told me about the fear that lived in Frank's shadow. You look like him when you smile. I told him one evening. We were sitting at the table, drinking tea. He looked at me. His face softened. Do you hate me? He asked. For lying? I don't know you well enough to hate you, I said. But I'm getting there. He laughed. It was a sad sound. Fair enough. On the 8th day, the car returned. The same black sedan. It parked across the street. 2 men got out. They stood on the sidewalk. They looked at the house. They didn't knock. They just waited. Michael saw them through the curtains. His face went white. "They're here," he whispered. "They found me." He ran to the basement door. He grabbed the bag. He ran back up. "I have to go," he said. "I have to draw them away. If they catch me here, they'll hurt you." "Michael, wait," I said. "Take the money. Take the ledger. Just go." He looked at me. He took my hand. He squeezed it. "I love you," he said. "I know I'm not Frank, but I'm glad I met you." He opened the front door. He stepped out into the night. He didn't look back. He walked toward the men. They saw him. They started to run. I watched from the window. I saw the struggle. I saw them grab him. I saw him drop the bag. I saw it burst open. Papers flew everywhere. Money scattered in the wind. They threw him into the car. They sped away. The street was empty again. The papers blew across the lawn. Green paper. Useless paper. I went outside. I picked up a handful of the scattered bills. They were counterfeit. They were blank on one side. It was a trick. It was a game. I stood on the sidewalk. I looked at the empty street. I realized then why Frank had left that life. He was running from a ghost. And now the ghost had taken the sun. I went back inside. I locked the door. I bolted it. I sat in my chair. The house was silent. The silence was heavy. It was the silence of a secret kept. It was the silence of a promise made that I never saw Michael again. I never called the police. I buried the counterfeit money in the garden. I put the photo back on the wall. I looked at Frank's face. I looked at the stranger's eyes. I learned to live with the ghosts. I learned to live with the lies. I learned that sometimes the quietest life is the one that holds the loudest secrets. I still hear the knock sometimes. In my dreams. In the wind. I wonder if he's out there. I wonder if he's safe. I hope he is. He was my son, too. For a little while. The house is quiet now. The light doesn't flicker. The floorboards don't creak. I live alone with the truth. I live alone with the memory of a boy who needed a mother. I live alone with the knowledge that I was the only one who could save him. And I failed.